Oh, goody.
All right, what's going on, everybody? Zombies here again, and today we're back with another Marvel Snap video. So in this one, we have a new tier list. So I did a tier list for Pool 4 and Pool 5 shortly before they came out, kind of giving my opinions on where the cards would fall. And now we've had some time to play with the cards, see others play with them, get a general feel for how good or not good they are. So I wanted to provide an updated tier list to kind of take a look at how the cards are performing a little while after they have released. I will have one of these up for Series 5 as well soon, but I figured we would start out with Series 4, especially because I feel like these are the cards that you're more likely to run into, more likely to open, more likely to buy with your tokens, especially if you're a not beta player and didn't make that 3000 collection level marker for the free tokens. So let's take a look at what we have here. First up at the top, and I don't think anyone's going to be surprised by this, is She-Hulk. She-Hulk coming in the S tier. She-Hulk is just really, really good. She-Hulk is a great card in a variety of archetypes. I've seen her do super well in the Death Wave archetype, good in Dino, good in kind of a slower control-y style deck with Infinite as a finish sometimes. She's just good in a lot of stuff. There's really no other way to say it. The card is very flexible, very powerful, and overall, out of all the additions we got in Series 4, I think if there's one Series 4 card right now you're spending your tokens on, it's gonna be She-Hulk. I think she just makes that much of a difference, and if you get her via opening or the token shop, I do not think you will regret it. Then in tier A here, we have Absorbing Man, A for Absorbing. And Absorbing Man's really cool. I think this is a card that has a lot of potential to get better with time, but for the time being, he's just pretty good. There are some cool combos you can do with him. It's really cool going Spider-Man into Absorbing Man to lock an opponent out of playing into a lane. That's a fun one. Brood into Absorbing Man in Surfer decks is actually kind of sweet. Like, it's only going to get better too. Also, using Absorbing Man to copy your Surfer on the final turn if you have Sarah and can get them both out, or if you play Surfer on 5, Absorbing on 6. It's just really cool. It's a very flexible card, and it's a card that I think is only going to get better as more powerful on reveal abilities get added to the game. This one, you know, I still think She-Hulk is the best buy here, but if I had to pick a runner-up, Absorbing Man gotta be it. Just a very flexible and powerful card. Then moving into B tier here, we have Titania. This is another one I was really excited about before release. Haven't played a whole ton with her, but I have played against her quite a bit, and I think she's a very powerful card. My favorite thing to use her in was going to be Cerebro 5, but the nerfs kind of killed Cerebro 5, sadly. But she seems to be doing well in Disrupt style Zoo, or just a general Zoo style build that slips in a 0 to get rid of her effect if you don't want it. I think it makes sense. Titania is just pretty good. I think the disruption angle is one of the better ways to use her, but I don't know if we have enough disruption pieces to make that super consistent right now. So maybe that's something that will get better with time, but for now, she's just a pretty solid inclusion into a decent amount of Zoo lists. Not really seeing her a whole lot elsewhere. Then moving on, we have Maria Hill and Agent Coulson. So I'm going to talk about these two a little bit together because they do a similar thing. Maria Hill gives you a 1-drop, Agent Coulson gives you a 4 and a 5-drop. So these are both cards where I probably wouldn't go out of my way to spend my tokens on them, but if I open them, I'm not exactly unhappy. I actually did open Agent Coulson, still waiting on Maria Hill. I think Hill is a little bit better than Coulson, but it's going to depend on the deck, right? Maria Hill replaces herself and gives you a 1 cost, and 1 costs are nice because you can just kind of like weave it into a turn a lot easier than a lot of other cards, and there are a lot of powerful 1 cost cards, so I think Maria is pretty good for that reason. Coulson's interesting because he gives you a 4 and a 5, so he kind of smooths out your curve a bit. Also, gaining 2 cards is relevant for something like Devil Dinosaur, so I think he's pretty good. I think he's like they're both reasonable inclusions in a dinosaur deck. Outside of that, I'm not really sure what other deck kind of wants these style of cards. Maybe a Tempo Zoo deck might not mind Maria Hill, but Coulson's probably a bit too slow and random. So overall, just like solid, nothing super special or spectacular, but just kind of solid, get the job done kind of cards. So felt pretty deserving of the B tier there. Moving into C tier here. Luke Cage. This is one I actually bought in the shop reluctantly. And I think he's a fun card. I think he's an interesting card. Obviously has a very unique effect, but I don't think we have the tools to fully make use of him yet. I think that can come with time, but right now people are trying to do like hazmat shenanigans, or maybe get out a something with a negative effect and have it not bother your team with Luke Cage, and those are neat ideas. But it just doesn't seem there are enough cards like that right now, outside of just going for kind of the meme, just make your opponent's stuff cost like 1 million less, or not cost less, have like 1 million less power with hazmat, double Wong, stuff like that. And it's cool, it's a neat idea, but it's really hard to pull off and definitely more meme territory. There was a disruption deck that used him early on, but it didn't seem to be having too much success, even though the idea was cool. Though sometimes those disruption decks do just steal wins, but I think definitely leaning more towards the meme territory for now. I think Luke Cage will probably go up over time as we get more effects that do things that kind of impacts everyone's side of the field negatively. But until we get more of that, putting him down here in the C tier. And Attuma. Attuma's a neat card, but the possibilities for this one are rather limited. Really, the places I expect to see this card continue to see play are just in decks that are focused around stuff like armor, or Venom, just being able to eat a nice big thing and not having to worry about the downside. I guess you could put this in a 0 deck, but it seems like kind of a not that great of a 0 target. I mean, I guess you could have this and Typhoid Mary as your 2 4s, so you have a better chance to get a 4 for 10. But I don't know. It just doesn't make a lot of sense to me. I think he's okay, nothing special, but until we see something that really can make use of either his cheap cost for high power, or just make use of the downside better, I think he is pretty deserving of the C tier. Last two we have here, D tier, M'Baku. What's there to say about this card? It's just bad. It's a cool idea, and some people tried to make it work in Lockjaw, and it's just not good. I mean, I guess it kind of works in the Lockjaw sometimes, but the odds of you having this card not in your hand are pretty low. That's kind of the idea with Lockjaw. You just throw it in at the end, and the thing is, you're playing such a bad card in your deck for a small chance of a very small random upside. Hitting 2 power to a random lane at the end of the game is generally not worth the deck space. Even if you could guarantee that this card would always be in your deck at the end of the game, I still don't think people would play it, and this is one of the cards I would actually kind of hope they buff or rework, because I think it's a very cool character, and the idea is neat, but the execution, it's just not good. And then Helicarrier. This is another one, I don't really know who this card is for. Maybe it's just like a casual mess around card. I guess the idea, it's clearly made to be around discard stuff, but I think in terms of discard, both the regular Lockjaw discard and the Hela discard, I don't think either of those decks really want this card. I guess Hela, if you're bringing it back, and maybe it gives you more fuel to discard big stuff, but the random aspect of it means you might not even discard big stuff, and 10 isn't even that big to begin with. You could just throw a Hulk in there at that point. So I just don't see the point of this card right now. Maybe as the discard archetype evolves and gets more pieces, it'll become better, but I'm not holding my breath. I don't think this one is very good. So those are my thoughts on all of our Pool 4 cards here. Again, no word on how long it takes for Pool 5 to drop into Pool 4. I'm hoping we get some information on that soon, because it's going to determine a lot of stuff here. But for the time being, quick recap: if you want to spend your tokens on a Series 4 card, especially if you are a player who is still working their way through Series 3, I think She-Hulk is by far the best buy available. And then Absorbing Man might be pretty decent depending on the decks you like to play. Everything else in this kind of Pool 4 shop selection here, I would probably pass on and save your tokens for either future Pool 5 card or more Pool 3 cards to help fill out your collection and get the decks that you want. But that is going to wrap it up for this video. Let me know in the comments below what you think about these Pool 4 cards and the tier list, and I will catch you in the next one. Peace.